Gentlemen, I hope you're good, guys, and I hope you're fantastic and everything is okay out there. Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to David M. I hope you're good, guys. Now, I want to come up with this thing, guys, and just show you, or maybe explain to you on how I approach this thing called prayer. Okay. Now, first of all, let me start here. Prayer is very important. That is the first thing. We can't run away from that. It's very important. Without prayer, it's gonna be difficult for us to actually live our lives, being in God without prayer in a way. All right. And also, it helps us in many aspects in our lives. Okay. Now, I'm talking about prayer between you and God, all right? Not prayer through somebody, or prayer, maybe somebody maybe somebody praying to God for you. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a prayer between you and God, okay? Now, let me put this, guys, and let me show you, or let me not show you, but let me tell you guys and explain to you on how I approach it. First of all, I'm going to be easy. First thing that I do, it is I approach prayer as a communication between two parties. All right, that's how I approach it. Okay, now since it is a communication between two parties, all right, in this case I can say between God and myself. Okay, so since that is a communication between me and God, all right, it is very important. It makes it very important because that means I am gonna have to communicate with God every time. Okay? For example, if you've got a friendship, or maybe you've got a relationship, or maybe you've got maybe you're married and all of that, all right? The most important thing that actually happens, or that is important in that relationship or in that marriage or anything like that, it is communication. There is no way you can run your marriage without communication. You cannot do anything without communication, even in a business environment or even in a company environment. There is no way a company can be run, okay, or it can be ran, all right, without communication. There must be, or has to be, a communication in somewhere, somehow. There must be a communication. In most cases, if you find relationship companies and anything like that, maybe in trouble, and maybe you will find that in most cases, okay, not every time, but in some instances, it is communication that actually, it was a communication breakdown that actually took place, all right, that actually happened. That is why perhaps that company or maybe that marriage is in trouble, all right? Now, communication is between two parties, between myself and God. In other words, I talk to God and God talks to me. Okay? That means I must be able to talk and also to hear. All right? I must be able to talk and also to hear, because this thing, ladies and gentlemen, of going into the room and pray to God and say whatever that you are saying to God, and after that you just leave without listening or hearing from what God, or hearing what God is saying to us, it becomes a problem, because it is possible that while you are praying there and God was giving you an answer immediately at that moment, and because we're not paying attention and we're not listening, so sometimes, okay, sometimes he might give you an answer at that moment and tell you what to do, maybe if you're looking for answers, and tell you what to do, but because we don't listen, sometimes we approach prayer as you just saying things to God and you leave. And it is not like that, ladies and gentlemen. Prayer, it is something that is it's a communication between myself and God. Okay? Now, since it is a communication thing, or a communication between two parties, ladies and gentlemen, I like to submit to you, it means that, all right? It means that that means, since it is that, we should approach it or take it or make it as our lifestyle, or make it our lifestyle. Okay? Make it our lifestyle. Now, making it our lifestyle, it means making it enjoyable. All right, making it enjoyable. If you've got a communicate, have you experienced a place or a situation where you are communicating with somebody else and you are enjoying the communication, or maybe a group of people, okay, you are enjoying talking about a certain topic, and then you talk and talk and talk, and afterwards you will feel relieved and you will feel like you were having a very nice conversation, and you actually appreciate those people that you were having a conversation with, because it was enjoyable, because it was something that it was an engagement between yourself and those people. I actually believe that how we should approach prayer. When you go into always talking, and then after you're done, and then you pack your bags and then you leave without listening to God, will you just take a moment and just listen to God and just hear what God actually says to you? Because it is possible that He might be talking to you, He might be saying something, and it will actually, guys, help us in terms of when it will help us in terms of we will know when God is saying anything, or we will know when God is quiet. Because sometimes God does become quiet, maybe for that moment and all of that. Then you will know that He's not saying anything, and then you leave. But there are some instances where we will actually be talking to you at that moment. What I am saying, guys, is that the moment we make prayer, we approach prayer as a communication. And also the minute we don't make a prayer as a burden. We make a prayer as a burden. All right, but we make it as something that we enjoy doing, as something that we love doing, because it's enjoyable to talk to God. It's enjoyable to have a communication with God. You pour out your feelings, you pour out what you don't like, you pour out what you have experienced on that day, on that week, on that month. You have a conversation, and sometimes it's possible that you might have a 3-hour conversation with God, and finding yourself talking to God, ladies and gentlemen. All right, because we are giving God time to speak to us and to communicate with us. Don't you feel like you are tired of hearing other people saying, God has said to me, God has said to me, instead of you hearing from yourself, or hearing from your side, hearing from God, instead of somebody always hearing people saying, God was saying to me, God was talking to me, and all of that, and you don't feel like, I wish that I can be able to actually hear God like that person hears God. And that's how it should be, ladies and gentlemen. Individually so, we should be approaching prayer as a communication, not a burden, not something that you do because you are forced to do, all right? Now, I know that, we are commanded to pray. We are commanded to pray, but while we are commanded to pray, from ourselves, let us make sure that we enjoy it. And the way we would enjoy it, I believe, it will be if we approach it like a communication between God, between yourself and God, and then you can have and have that thing. Because what will happen if you are communicating with somebody now and then, there will be some times where even if when there is a long time that you are not communicating with that group, or maybe those people or that person, you will feel a gap. You will be like, no, I am missing something. I miss communicating with somebody. In other words, there's gonna be that zeal inside of you. There's gonna be that thing that is going to say, I miss talking to God. I miss having time with God. Because it's a lifestyle. It's something. That is why I actually believe that we need to enjoy it in such a way that we end up becoming prayer. In other words, you are not reminded it's something that is in you. It's something that you do. You miss sometimes. Being with God, being talking to God, having a conversation with God. I just wish, guys, that one day in the Bible, maybe we were not shown, but we were told, or maybe it was written or maybe recorded where Jesus Christ was actually praying, and actually hear on how Jesus Christ prays. Because I believe that perhaps he was, having that conversation with God. Remember, there was a time where the Bible says that Jesus Christ came with one of his disciples. They came down full of glory and all of that. You remember also there were other other people there. I don't know whether to call them angels, not angels, but some of the people that came and joined Jesus Christ there in a light and everything like that, because Jesus Christ, in other words, there was a communication between them. There was a communication. It was part of a prayer. Okay, that is why one of the disciples ended up saying, why can't we just build some houses here and stay here? Because it was enjoyable. Okay, it was something that was enjoyable, which, guys, we should be approaching it like that. We should be enjoying it instead of making it as a burden. Don't make it as a burden. Don't make it a burden. Also, I want to say, you can make a plan about prayer. Okay, you can make a plan on when you will pray, at what time you will pray, and all of those things. But don't be limited. Don't be limited on that. Don't put a box. You can put it down just to be a disciplined person, okay, and pray at that time and everything like that. But I encourage that you don't box yourself into that space, because sometimes God would want you to pray outside that time that you usually pray. Saying you can have it, but have it with the mindset of saying, I'm not boxing myself. Every time, God, I feel, or maybe every time there is that thing that says pray, and then I will be able to pray. Okay, if we enjoy it, we will pray anytime we feel like but we will pray every time we need to pray, because of this thing. It's in our blood, because of we enjoy it. We love doing it. So I want to encourage you, ladies and gentlemen, today and say to you, let us enjoy prayer. Let us make it a lifestyle. Let us not do it because it's a burden, making it as if it's a burden. You remember what Jesus said? Jesus said, my yoke is easy. All right? My yoke is easy. We must never, ever, ever take things and make them a burden to ourselves, because Jesus has set us free. Prayer should be something enjoyable, should be something good, should be something that we love doing. All right? Not because of somebody said that, but we love doing, because it's a lifestyle to us. It's something that we can't do without. You feel like, I miss God, let me go and talk to God. Maybe it's 4 o'clock, let me go and see God, let me go and talk to God. Maybe at 8 o'clock at night, let me go and talk to God. And then you wake up during the night, and then you are like, I miss my God, let me talk to God. We enjoy it, we love doing it. All right, and the way we will be able to do that, it is if we approach it as a communication. You communicate with God. That's where you pour your feelings. That's where you release everything. For me, ladies and gentlemen, that is where I find therapy. It's like a therapeutic thing to me. All right, every time when I pray, I talk to God. I have a conversation with God. Sometimes He reveals things to me. Sometimes He shows me some verses, and then He tells me some revelations even without. There will be some things that I actually come up with while I am praying, because I communicate with God, and you can even ask questions at the end of the day in your prayer and ask, this thing happened, this thing, I don't know, Father, what I was supposed to do there. You are praying in that moment, all right? And all of that. I think that will be so wonderful. And also, guys, it will actually help us to, when we deal with demons, deal with spirits, we will deal them understanding that we are in communication with God. And when you approach those spiritual stuff, you approach them with authority, because you know that you are in communication with God. In other words, you are co-working with God. My goodness, you are co-working with God. So your prayers will be easy, because you will be doing it in authority together with God. Because remember, prayer without God, it is nothing. Okay? Prayer without God, it's nothing. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope that blessed you. You have a good day out there and stay praying. Stay in communication with God, all right? And enjoy it. It is awesome to have that communication with God. Let us not stop talking to our God. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and you have a good day. God bless you.